Hello traders and welcome to the week ahead. I'm here on Saturday, May 31st in hot and sunny California, ready to talk about the markets. So once again, it was a very choppy market this week. It was a short week. Going into this week, I was looking at trying to catch some weekly higher lows, but of course the human VIX took effect again and the market was rallying out of that consolidation I'd been looking for on the weekly time frame. And so that did not happen. But that's the way it goes. I think that's what trading is. And if you don't like it, find a different thing to do. So I want to talk a little bit about the choppy market, talking about the taco trade. I'm sure everybody is laughing about the Trump always chickens out trade because he keeps going back on the things that he says he's going to do. And this one I'm going to show you is PLTR. I think that the chart itself didn't have much to do with the human VIX or the taco trade, but it just goes to show as the market itself is fluctuating, stocks within the market go pretty wild. Okay, so this up here was the 30-minute time frame on PLTR this week, and you can see it had a pretty wild oscillation in every direction. So up 7%, down 7%, up 7%. Some traders love this. Some traders thrive on this. I'm not one of those traders. I can do okay in this. I can catch pieces of this. This is not what I look for when I'm trading. What I'm looking for is the easy money trade. I'm looking for the simplest thing to occur, the most obvious thing to occur. And I'm not trying to get all of a move. I'm trying to catch some or hopefully most of the move. I'm not trying to get everything. I'm certainly not trying to be perfect. How could you have known this was coming? Well, if you look here on the daily time frame, we were in a steady daily downtrend, but we were looking for, let's take a look at the weekly. Yeah, we had this, I don't know that this even counts as a weekly higher low here. I'd call this a rinky-dink weekly higher low. We basically had a hit of all-time high, and we should be scouting a weekly higher low, but we haven't really done that yet. We had an inside week, and then we broke bull out of that now. So the bull train continues with PLTR, and I think what a lot of people were hoping on the daily time frame here was for this to lead to a weekly higher low or even a monthly higher low that could then be traded for higher. But PLTR had other ideas. And so what was the clue you could have caught for this? Well, I mean, just look at this indicator I have here. This is my trend tracker indicator, and it shows you daily downtrend solid. Then this high here tested this high back here, and then you got a higher low. So the fact that this retraced almost entirely this move down is telling you there's a chance you could get a higher low, right? And then you do get that higher low, and then it was confirmed here on Friday. So, the signs were all there. Now, if I had traded this properly, would I have been successful? I actually don't think so, and I'll tell you why. I did not anticipate that this was going to be a daily higher low. I mean, it just felt like it was going to keep dropping to me, and I was in the same boat. So when this had this strong rally, I didn't see that coming. And there were traders who traded it that I was in a room with who caught this almost the entire move, and good for them. That's fantastic. But then it pulled all the way back in. And I would have been thinking of that as a rejection, right? So I wouldn't be looking at this thinking, oh, it's my chance to get long because, we've retraced almost the entire move. That's by the rules that I trade with. That's telling me that there's a more likelihood that you're going to get a lower high out of this than a higher high again. And so I wouldn't have been that eager to even try this. I wasn't at my desk, so I couldn't. But there it goes. It rallied all the way back up again. And so that, when people say it's a tough market to trade, I think this is what they're talking about. There's things happening in the real world that are causing the market to have wild fluctuations that are out of the norm, which makes it difficult. So in a nutshell, that's what it is. Now, switching gears a little bit, I wanted to talk about how you may have noticed that my videos do not feature trade ideas. I do have trade ideas. I don't share them. I have a lot of trade ideas every day, and even throughout the day I come up with trade ideas. But to me, the thing that has helped me to turn the corner and become more consistently profitable is my understanding of the market itself. Because with that understanding of what's going on in the market, I'm able to then determine trades that make sense based on what's happening within the market. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about this because I think a lot of traders come into trading and they'll look at videos like mine and they'll be thinking about, why isn't he sharing a setup with me? Why isn't he showing me a stock that I should buy and where I should buy it? It doesn't really work that way. That's why I don't do it, because what's more important is understanding what is going on in the market, and then is the market providing the conditions for a setup or a trade to work? You can think of it like, I have this thing written here called the swimmer analogy, and I'm thinking like if you're a trained swimmer, maybe you're trained an Olympic swimmer and you're trained to swim in an Olympic-sized swimming pool and you're, doing many laps back and forth through over long distance through very calm water. Well, the market is not that kind of pool. The market can be a wild ocean with tsunamis happening. The market could be a kiddie pool, on a day where there's no range at all, and like you're an Olympic swimmer sitting in a kiddie pool. So the conditions matter a lot, and that's what's going to guide what trades make sense to do. And so when I'm going through these week ahead videos, that's what I'm trying to do is conduct structure around which you can think about the market. This is what I do, and this is actually why I produce the videos. As much as I hope people find value out of them, I'm really making them for me, because it helps me to organize my thoughts, and it helps me to come up with a simple statement, which I'm grateful that I got this idea from Dan and McDermott at the Chart Guys community. He's always talking about a simple statement. And the simple statement that I come up with each week is my guide. Anytime something is happening in the market, I need to stop thinking too deeply about the short-term time frame, stop thinking too deeply about things that people said that are rolling the market and making it move in wild directions, and come back to, wait, what was my simple statement? What did I say needed to remain true? And is that still true? Because if it is true, then I should be looking for this kind of trade. And if it's not true, then I should be looking for this other kind of trade. I hope that makes sense. And this week, I actually personally, I was a little bit lost. I didn't, my simple statement wasn't really working for me, which was, my simple statement was that weekly bulls are still in full control as long as weekly EMA 12 is held. And that didn't really help me. It was a little too wide of a statement, because yeah, we're flying wildly all over the place, but we are holding weekly EMA 12. And so, it didn't really help. And I was trying to figure out what to do. And I was starting to, read more things from people that were more about fundamentals and bearishness around fundamentals. And I actually even considered showing a chart on this video of some jobless claims data. And I stopped myself and said, hang on, this is not technical analysis. What I'm about to do is bring you into my own personal struggle that I'm dealing with, because I'm having trouble determining what should be happening technically on the chart. And that is not a good way to be, because as soon as you introduce those kind of thoughts and ideas into your thinking and your analysis of a chart, you're not analyzing the chart anymore. You're leading with your emotions, you're leading with a bias that comes from emotions, and you're not being objective. And so this video, I gave it the title Zen and the Art of Technical Analysis, because the emotional struggle that you deal with can get in so easily just from a simple tweet or somebody you respect who says something or whatever. Those things can seep in and they can guide you to make very, very bad decisions in trading. And you don't want to make those decisions. You want to be guided by what is happening in the chart and your understanding of the chart. And so I have a simple statement for this week. I'm going to go over it here in a minute. And that is definitely going to be my guide. And if it had been my guide in the prior week, I think I would have traded this week a lot better. And I'll show you why. So back to the charts. This week felt a lot more like the wall of worry climb that I was talking about before, where the moves are not so one directional, all to the upside like they were in the prior weeks. They were more choppy up and down within the week, but net moving up. And so I'm going to show you what I'm talking about there, starting with QQQ. So here is QQQ, and I don't think I could make this more clear. What do you see here? I see a series of like a low, higher high, higher 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 low. That is what we call an uptrend. So it's really as simple as that. There's nothing more complicated than that. Okay, the blue line that we have here, that is the daily EMA 12. As long as this EMA is holding, the bulls are in complete control. And if that had been my guide coming into this past week, even on this day back here where we dipped below it, where did we close? We closed above it. And so and it was a daily higher low. And on Friday, what happened? We were bearish off those NVIDIA earnings. We came into the day and we're choppy. We rolled over midday, and if I had been using, as long as the daily EMA 12 is support, the bulls are in complete control. As long as the daily uptrend is intact, the bulls are in complete control. If I'd been thinking about that as this was dropping, I wouldn't have been thinking bearishly about the market. Look how far it got. It got to the daily EMA 12, yes. Did it get hourly oversold? No. How bearish is it? It's not bearish. The move down was slow. It took its time here, was unsure if it wanted to go lower. All the while that's happening, RSI is cooling off. And then when it flushed, it didn't even get to hourly oversold. And then immediate bounce. Okay, so this is the guide. As long as daily EMA 12 is support, as long as the hourly uptrend is intact, or the daily uptrend is intact, the bulls are in control. And so where are we in this? Like, what's next? Well, here's all-time highs. It's above us now. There's no denying it. It's right there. And so I'm a little disappointed that this week I was unable to catch this low. I wasn't at the computer. I had to be away from the computer during that about 2 or 3 hours in the middle of the day, and I missed the move. However, I can't kick myself too much because I was so confused and clouded in my judgment of the market that I'm not sure I would have been able to do a good job trading it. So it is what it is. If I miss the daily higher low, so be it. Going into next week, what do I have to be thinking? Well, in order for an uptrend to continue, the next step after a daily higher low is to get, an hourly higher low. So can the bulls confirm an hourly higher low? Right now, we have not yet done that. We've had a strong move up. We're going to come back in. We're going to test something lower, and we're going to see, can we get a bounce from that? Hourly higher lows are often marked by 5-minute oversold conditions. And, one of the common trading patterns you might want to trade, be looking out for stair steps, for falling wedges, for inverse head and shoulders, all above the low of Friday. And depending on how far back that retracement goes, if and when it goes, that will tell you how confident you can be in that daily higher low holding up. Do we retrace, more than 50% of that move or not? So this is the move up. If we come back in down here, then there's a higher likelihood we get a lower high. So again, you need to just fall back on the technicals that you understand and trade the market in front of you, and don't get so clouded by all of the things that people are saying, all of the moves that might seem scary in the moment. I think anytime, another general rule that I follow is anytime that there is extension happening on a stock, there's two ways to think about that. It's either a momentum move that is playing out and will be strong and continue to be strong in that direction because it's making a higher time frame move, or it's based on some kind of news that's driving it, or it's an opportunity to play the reversal. And as you can see, the reversals happen quite often in this market. Happened just here on Friday, a complete V-shape out of that drop. And as you're looking for daily higher lows, you couldn't ask for a better setup than that right there. So, okay, so we have a daily uptrend. We have daily EMA 12 as support here on the Qs. I think it's also happening on SPY. Check it really quick. Yeah, it got a little lower over here, but it is ultimately continuing to the upside. You have to be looking at this balance over here and thinking about it on SPY and QQQ. So draw your balance in there. However far it goes, must be over here. And be aware, this is above you. We're trading into it right here, right now, on SPY. Testing it from under, and the same thing over here on QQQ. So let's draw that one in. And if you look at this, like we're right in smack in the middle of that balance. So that's there. It's real. We're near the all-time highs. Are we going to continue up? Maybe we will. If we weren't going to, what would be the things that would tell me that we weren't going to continue to the upside? A close below daily EMA 12 on the daily time frame. B, a confirmed downtrend on the daily time frame. So coming into next week, if you're thinking bearishly, you need to see, what does that retracement look like on Friday? On Monday. We don't even know, are we going to gap up on Monday? Are we going to gap down on Monday? Are we going to open here? If we open here and we do pull in, how far is the retracement? If we open higher and we pull in, do we fill the gap, right? These are the things you need to think about, is how bullish or bearish are we being at any given moment in time based on the fact that I know this needs to hold if we're going to keep going up, right? And so that's always what I'm thinking about. That's always how I'm measuring the opportunity in front of me, is against that context. And that's not just for trading QQQ. If I'm looking at a very strong stock that correlates with QQQ, then I want to see, if I'm thinking that that stock should be making an up move, is QQQ going to be providing the conditions to be supportive of that happening? Because if QQQ is moving down, it means a lot of the other stocks in the tech sector are moving down. And so my tech stock that I want to trade up won't have the support it needs. So that's kind of how I think about this. If we were going to reject from here, what would that look like? Spend a bit of time thinking about this. So what is a pattern that could show a reversal here? The one that I can see here that could happen is an inverse head and shoulders. I didn't draw that perfectly, but you get the idea. Now, this doesn't have to play out. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. If we can't break the high of Thursday, then we're going to test the lows again. That's just the way it works. Now, this has happened before, right? Like we saw it happen over here, where we got left shoulder, head, and then we did not get the right shoulder. It continued up, right? So it absolutely can just continue up. It doesn't need to roll over. But if it was going to roll over, that's a pattern I could see that would make sense. So it's something I'm going to be watching for as well. Just cautious. When we get to the top here, are we able to close above this high of Thursday, or do we immediately reject and come down? Can we even get there at all? If we can't, and we start seeing bear signals, then be aware of what could happen. But what could make that happen? What is happening in the market right now that could make it roll over and us seek more downside? The only thing that I can think of is NVDA. So quickly looking at NVIDIA, I wanted to point out, so this was another person in the Chart Guys community, Chart Gal Dins. She pointed out that the last 3 times NVIDIA had earnings, it was faded. So here was back in August of 24, nice fade after that. Topped out and faded here in November of 24, and then back here in Feb of 25, serious dumpage. Now we're in a different situation. We've been in a strong rally. We did fade in the days that followed the earnings report, and actually the earnings got it quite a bit higher in the after hours trading, and then it came back in. So are we going to continue to fade this move and keep going down? Well, right now NVIDIA is also holding daily EMA 12. We tested it here on Friday and held it and bounced. So I don't know, but it's a thing to look out for. So I think if NVIDIA doesn't get it together and rally off of Friday's low, that's something to be paying attention to. Now, what would give you a sign that it was going to be so bad it would make the whole market roll over? I think it would be pretty obvious to you if that happened, based on just the volume and the move happening. But technically, the things you look for in the daily time frame are you need to break this low from back on Friday, May 23rd, and you need to lose and close below the daily EMA 12. That doesn't mean that it's going to continue after that. It just means those are the things you want to watch out for. It's been holding that. It's been showing strength. It's been able to stay above those levels. So as long as it's able to do that, it's not going to change. It's going to keep going up. And so maybe Friday was the buying opportunity of a lifetime as this thing heads towards all-time highs. Don't know. It was certainly worth an attempt. Sadly, I wasn't at the desk. But this is the one thing that I think could lead tech down, which could lead the market down. Okay, so confidence level. I missed the daily higher low. I believe the daily higher low occurred on Friday. We'll see as this next week plays out if that was true or not. If it was true, and the bulls are continuing, the best plays I can think of are hourly higher lows that hold above the low from Friday. The weekly lows that I've been looking for, those are off the table now because we can't even really break this uptrend at all so far. We'll see what happens. And my simple statement for this week is if the stocks are holding daily EMA 12, and I should also add, if the daily higher lows are continuing to hold, the bulls are in full and complete control, and we should trade as such. All right, have a great week, and happy trading. Hey everybody, if you like my indicators on TradingView and you like the content I'm producing here on this channel, please remember to like and subscribe.